tell you guys since we're all friends. Every character I write has a piece of me in them.
Hi, I'm Lee Bardugo, and you're listening to the GrishaCast.
Welcome to GrishaCast, episode 59. In this episode, we are covering chapters 13 and 14 from the book King of Scars. This is your host, Eric.
And I'm Terry, from Nashville, Tennessee. This is your podcast for all things Grishaverse.
A world created by the wonderful Lee Bardugo. Moi ça va Yanni!
Hello.
What's up, y'all? It's been a minute. So
A hot minute.
It has been a hot minute. Sorry about that, but we'll tell you about that in a second.
Sorry about it.
Real quickly, we got to say hello to some of our cities.
We do, like Higashi, Hiroshima, Japan.
Whoa, go girl!
Yes.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
And next, we've got Basingstoke, England.
Woohoo!
Please, be nice. Sorry if I mispronounce that.
We try.
We do. So, hey. So thank you all so much for listening. It is, I still don't believe that there are people out there listening to us, but hey.
Clearly, there are.
So, for those of you asking how you can help, we would greatly appreciate tips. $1 goes a long way. Your tips will help us to continue to bring you the GrishaCast. You can Venmo a tip to @BODHIMM.
Or Cash App $BODHIMM. Also, leaving a review on your podcast platform, liking and following us on our socials, especially our YouTube channel, would make us oh so very happy. Happy.
Yes. So, how have you been, girl? We're back.
We are back.
Yeah, I think the majority of the country had to go through that snowstorm,
Yes.
so I don't think it's really newsworthy.
No.
We were shut down for a week.
Everything was shut down for a week, but we were very lucky compared to other people, like in Texas.
Right, absolutely.
So I never lost electricity. I never lost water. I had all of my creature comforts, and I was snowed in with the love of my life, and everything was great. So it wasn't terrible for me, and I feel very bad for those that it was
Had it
bad
hard.
for. But
Yeah.
but for me personally, no big deal.
I definitely enjoyed the fact that I had a week off work that I didn't expect. Every single day, I would wait for that text to come through, and when it did, I was just like, yes!
I still had to work, but from home, but I was still expected to work. I was just glad I was inside and I could see the pretty snow outside. It was so pretty.
It's so beautiful. I love.
So pretty.
That's what I miss so much about living in Minneapolis is snow is beautiful. I love cold weather, and there is after a fresh snowstorm or like the snow stops, if you go outside at night, there's like this audible silence.
Yeah.
It's just like I don't know. It's beautiful.
And it's actually like weirdly a blanket of warmth.
Yeah.
Like it's just cold until it snows, and then there's just like this warmth that it doesn't seem as cold anymore.
It was nice, especially for us because we haven't had snow in a while.
A long time.
We used to at least get one snowstorm a year, and then we haven't had snow. Like, this is the first time in 2 years or 3 or something.
I want to say it's been since like 15 or 16.
It's been a while because that's one of my favorite things, so I always look for it. My favorite things.
Eric's favorite things.
But yeah, so that was nice. And anyways, we're back.
We are back.
So, how was anything else? I guess since we were snowed in, we really didn't get to do anything because I didn't.
No.
I
Not really. We did get a nice little email about Nina's timeline.
Oh.
From Miss Amelia. Thank you so much. We have been discussing it for a few weeks about, how in the world
That works.
did we get to where we are. But she brought up a very, very, very interesting point that makes so much sense, that if you think of her as the same age as Adric, and if you think about Adric's timeline where he was supposed to go with the students, he was supposed to be evacuated with them, but his sister asked that he could stay. So he had to have been older, which would have made Nina older.
Yeah.
So let's say they were around like 14 at that point.
Yes.
And then that would make sense with the storyline. So thank you 100% to Amelia for putting that in my brain, because then all of a sudden it was like, oh, yes, that makes sense now.
Absolutely. Like, I mean, just because, like, Lee is so, like, specific about that stuff, like, I couldn't imagine her making, like, because that's not, like, a small little mistake. Like, that's a main character. It's not like some of the weird stuff that happened with, like, Harry Potter in the movies where, but anyways, timelines are important, and I'm glad, thank you guys for helping
Yes,
us.
thank you. That's why we ask you all.
Lord.
Because I knew there had to be a good explanation for it.
Yeah.
I was having a block in my own brain.
It's hard. I don't really think about our characters' ages,
No,
like,
I
at
don't.
all.
I just spilled sugar everywhere.
It's okay, girl. We'll clean it up. It's actually monk fruit.
Ooh, yes.
Get you some monk.
Yeah, we have some monk. Speaking of monk, but yes, thank you so much for that. It makes so much sense, and my brain can rest happy. And I hope that helps everyone else. If everyone else was
Absolutely.
worried about it as well.
Well, we all got to work together to help.
We do.
And so I'm sure you guys know we usually record this on Thursday and it gets released on Friday. So I can't wait for GrishaCast News to talk about this, but Lee Bardugo posted a awesome image, like, I mean, an ad today for the show, and it was the fold picture for those of you that have seen it. Oh my God.
I know, we finally get to see the fold.
Oh my God. I was crying because it was like for the first time actually seeing something that, like, I don't know, it just meant so much.
Yeah, it's emotional. Every time a new poster comes out or a new little like tidbit comes out, it's emotional.
And supposedly tomorrow, because I mean we're getting pretty close to when it comes out, we might be getting the trailer, y'all. So
Gosh, less than 2 months now.
yeah. So just to let you guys know, when that trailer does hit, we will be doing like a special episode. So hang in there for that, because we're gonna pick apart that whole, like, we're gonna try to find everything we can in it.
Yep.
We're gonna slow it down to like so slow and see if we can catch everything frame by frame, because we're crazy like that.
Oh yeah, we're gonna pick it apart.
Absolutely.
A very special episode.
Well, should we get started?
We probably should, because we want to talk about some things.
Just a few.
Just a few. So, chapter 13 follows Miss Nina. Nina and Hana are still at the hunting lodge. They're taking turns pretending to be asleep by keeping up their little ruse that they have so those men don't bother them. But they actually ask each other questions to stay awake. So they don't actually fall asleep, because that's a little dangerous. In the morning, they head out riding bareback together.
That just
Nina's arms around her waist, thighs braced together. I'm telling you.
Hey,
Mark my words.
There's something going on there.
There's gonna be. I betcha. Like, that's literally the way it was written. Like, thighs braced together. That is the literal way it was written. So, like, I think we're supposed to think that.
I agree.
So, all right. Whew.
Yes.
Excuse me while I have a
cool
moment.
down.
Whew.
Take a shower. Cold shower.
A cold one. They meet back up with Adric at his camp, and he pretends to be upset over Hana wearing trousers. On their ride back, we learn that Hana is 19, so the right age for Nina, because Nina is 18.
Yeah.
She doesn't want to take her vows at the convent, and she can't go home. And that even though she thinks Grisha is a sin, she likes using her powers. It makes her feel good. They decide, as a cover for Nina to teach her about her powers, that they're going to tell the well mother that Nina will teach her Zimini.
Wow.
And Nina apparently learned all these powers from her sister.
Okay.
Her quote-unquote sister, because, she's not Grisha. She just learned it.
I was talking about the band, girl. Come on.
Woo, you're gonna get
Where's
me
your
all,
mind?
You're going to make me blush this episode, which is not easy to do.
Well.
And Nina will hopefully be able to get more information out of Hana during all of this, like about the factory and things that go on.
Yeah.
So back at the convent, as Nina suggests they go to town for lunch, Leonie suddenly faints. Adric says she's burning up and her pulse is racing. Apparently, she has absorbed the pollutants from the water sample, trying to isolate it. Remember in the last episode, she was going to try to pull it from the water. So she has pulled too much into her own system. While they're caring for her, she tells them that the well mother came to her earlier to tell her that the girl that had fallen off the horse into the river has died.
Well.
Which is sus. Very sus.
This is random, but I'm going to try to loop it in. Have you watched Sabrina that's on Netflix?
No.
Okay.
Do I need to?
Well, I liked it. I've watched all the seasons, and the last season that just came out, it was the final season, which was a surprise, and like, no, you haven't watched it, so I don't want to spoil it for you. You might like it.
I know a lot of people really like it.
It ended in a really weird way, and anyways, it makes no sense now because I'm not going to say it because I'm not going to spoil it for you. So sorry for wasting that 30 seconds.
So I watch like Manny MUA on YouTube, and he talks about it like all the time. I just haven't. I should start it.
It's cool. It's totally different from the Sabrina when we were growing up. It's a darker side of it. I think supposedly it's based off of the comic, which I didn't like. I never read the comic, but I guess the comic was darker. Yeah. It was darker, which was ooh. And you know what that reminds me of, which is I was talking about that Disney movie, which, hey, why am I talking about that? Because we need to be discussing GrishaVerse. But to finish that thought, I did call Terry over this past weekend, or I texted her and asked her, have you ever seen the Disney movie Black Cauldron? I hadn't. It was a really old movie, so I missed it. And I watched it, and that was horrifying. I was a Disney baby, and I just couldn't believe it.
There's a lot of the older ones that are a lot darker.
Yeah, but there's nothing that's as dark as that one.
Well, no.
Whoa.
No.
So if you like Disney and you haven't watched that, you need to. All Disney buffs have to.
Yes.
So.
Yes.
Okay, back to the GrishaVerse. Sorry,
back
love you guys.
Back to the GrishaVerse. So Nina tells them about the wolves and how she thinks there was Purim in the bite, but Leonie says she thinks it's something corrosive and not Purim. Okay. This is also the time that Nina tells the two of them that she can hear the dead. Hey, guys.
Don't think I'm weird, y'all.
I hear dead people.
Yeah.
And that they need their help. I'm not sure at this point if they're convinced because it ends a scene without them really responding. So I don't know what their response was, but I imagine it's like, all right, Nina.
They're probably just ignoring her and just like, oh, let's pretend she didn't say that.
Yes.
Because, I mean, in real life, you know, if people just if your friend just randomly said that, you'd be like,
Uh-huh.
Okay. Did I hear you right? Repeat.
The next morning, Nina was summoned by the well mother, which means that Hannah has asked her for the Zimini lessons. Adric is skeptical, but Nina convinces him that her plan is a good plan. In the well mother's office, the well mother herself is skeptical, saying that she can't pay for it, and it also seems like too good an offer from Nina or Mina. But Nina says that she wants a reference for a more permanent position and flatters the well mother enough that she starts feeling herself and allows the lessons. Wow. Hannah asks if she's actually going to give up her life as a guide, and Nina realizes at this moment that she is not ready to settle down in any one place. So I'm going to call foreshadowing.
Absolutely.
Because she talks about how she wasn't even at home in Ravka. She's never felt like she needed to put down roots. So I think continuing on, even into the next book, I think she's going to be a wanderer.
And through her journey, if you think about just the character since when we met her and what she went through, how she was just this really fun, jovial person. And then of course, when Nikolai dies, it's traumatic. And it's just she's going through all the stages of grief. And
when Matthias dies.
Oh, what'd I say?
Nikolai.
Oh my gosh. Nikolai don't die. Sorry about that, y'all. But
or does he?
That's why I think I said that is because I have had my own thoughts about what the future, like, rule of wolves is going to have.
Yeah, let's just say nobody knows.
We don't, but I'm just throwing this out there. That is my concern, is that could happen.
Yeah, we had that conversation.
So, listeners, do you feel me? Do you have that concern as well? Because, I mean, we know, like, I mean, she said there's going to be death. We know there's going to be marriage, and there's... just nervous. But...
Yeah, it's gonna be a nervous time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Sorry for interrupting you so much.
So what happens when I go first?
It does.
Maybe I shouldn't go first.
I'll go first next time. I'll go.
I love you because you get so excited about everything, and you're just like, oh, but.
I know.
Okay, so Nina tells Hana that she'll have to learn at least a little Zemini and teaches her the first thing, which is to fight. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. Then spends 2 hours showing her the beginning lessons of slowing and racing her own heart. Nina tells Hana that she's a natural, which doesn't elicit such a great response. And that leads us to our scene.
Oh, okay. So, we're going to be doing a scene, and I guess I'm playing Hana. Is that correct?
It is correct.
Okay, and you playing Nina.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, are you ready? Well, I'll let you finish sipping your tea. Oh, well,
I'm good.
I go first. That's right. Okay. Okay, well, here we go, y'all. Curtain up. That word, natural. Hana ran her finger over one of the sheets where she'd scrawled the conjunction of another Zemini verb. Conjugation of another Zemini verb. Her penmanship was tragic. When I was younger, my father took me everywhere, to ride, to hunt. It was unorthodox, but he longed for a son, and I think he believed there was no harm in it. I loved it. Fighting, horsemanship, running free, but when I got older and it was time to present me at court, I couldn't shake it off.
And why should you have to? Nina thought. She didn't have any great love for horses and preferred not to run anywhere unless being chased, but at least she was allowed those opportunities.
Hana folded her arms, her shoulders hunching, looking like she wanted to crumble into herself. Unnatural, they call me. A woman's body is meant to be soft, but mine was hard. A lady is meant to take small, graceful steps, but I strode. I was a laughingstock. Hana gazed up at the ceiling. My father blamed himself for corrupting me. I couldn't sing or paint, but I could clean a deer and string a bow. I could build a shelter. All I wanted was to escape to the woods, sleep beneath the stars.
That sounds horrible, admitted Nina. But I think I can understand the appeal.
I tried to change. I really did, Hana shrugged. I failed. If I fail again,
Her gaze was bleak, and Nina wondered what grim future she was seeing. What happens if you fail again?
The school was supposed to make me presentable, good marriage material. If the well mother can't fix me, I'll never be allowed to go home, never be presented at court. It should have happened 2 years ago.
Would it be so bad not to go back?
And never see my parents, live like an exile?
Are those the choices?
I find a way to fit in, or I take vows and live the rest of my life out here, in service to Gel, among women of the wall. She scowled. I wish I was an inferni instead of a heartrender.
That's ridiculous, Nina said without thinking, her pride bristling. How could anyone want to be a summoner instead of a corporalkai? Everyone knows we're the best order. I mean, why would anyone want to be an inferni?
Hana's bright eyes flashed as if it challenged. So I could melt the ice court from the inside out, wash the whole big mess into the sea.
Dangerous words, and maybe Nina should have pretended to be scandalized. Instead, she grinned. The grandest puddle in the world.
Exactly, said Hana, returning her smile, that wicked edge curling her lips.
Suddenly, Nina wanted to tell Hana all of it. My friends and I blew a hole in the ice court wall. We stole a Fjorden tank. All saints, did she want to brag? Nina gave her head a shake. This is a chance to gain her confidence, she told herself. Take it. She sat down at the desk next to Hana and said, if you could go anywhere, do anything, what would you choose for yourself?
Novia Zem, Hana said instantly. I'd get a job, make my own money, hire myself out as a sharpshooter.
You're that good?
I am, Hana said without a hint of hesitation. I think about it every time I ride out, just disappearing, making everyone believe I was lost in a storm or that I was carried away by the river.
Beastly idea. Come to Ravka. Then why not do it? Why not just go?
Hana stared at her, shocked. I couldn't do that to my parents. I couldn't shame them that way.
Nina narrowly avoided rolling her eyes. Fjordans and their honor. Of course not, she said swiftly. But she couldn't help but think of Hana riding into the clearing, rifle raised, braids loose, a warrior born. There was gold in her. Nina could see it. The shine dimmed by years of being told there was something wrong in the way she was made. Those glimpses of the real Hana, the Hana who was meant to be, were driving her to distraction. You're not here to make a new friend, Zenik, she chastised herself. You're here for information. What if the well mother cast you out? She asked.
She won't. My father is a generous donor.
And if she catches you flouncing about in men's trousers? Nina prodded.
She won't.
If my friends and I had been less generous, she might have. Now Hana leaned back and grinned with easy confidence. There you are, thought Nina.
It would have been your word against mine. I would have been dressed neatly in my pinafore and back behind the convent walls before you'd knocked on the well mother's door.
Interesting. Nina put all the condescension she could summon in her tone and said, Of course you would have.
Hana sat up straighter and jabbed her finger into the surface of the desk. I know every step that creaks in this place. I know just where the cook stashes the key to the west kitchen door, and I have pinafores and changes of clothes stowed everywhere from the chapel to the roof. I don't get caught.
Nina held up her hands to make peace. I just think you might consider more caution,
says the girl teaching me Grisha skills in the halls of Zhao.
Maybe I have less to lose than you do.
Hana raised a brow. Or maybe you just think you're better at being bold.
Try me, thought Nina. But all she said was, back to work. Let's see if you can make my heart race.
End scene.
End scene.
End chapter.
Okay, so I have finished the book, and I thought that was an important part to add in there because we needed a little bit of Hana, like to understand that whole thing. So that's why I put that in there. Also, I wanted to say or ask, what are Fjordan's thoughts on being gay? Like, to me, as a queer person, Hana seems gay. Like, she seems queer.
Yeah.
Especially, they talk about, like, who she was meant to be and who she's, like, hiding. And so, to me, she's a queer character. So, but that's not brought up. It's only brought up about, like, her just acting different. So does she not know that she's queer, or like is it just not a big deal? What do Fjordans think about queerness? Do we know?
Well, I know that like for sure Fjordans would not. I don't think they'd look at like gay people equally at all. I look at like Fjorda as like definitely like a very like religious country, and like I mean just from the way like we know how they look at like the Grisha and how they hate them, I'm pretty sure it would be like just like I don't know. I have that feeling. Although I don't have any proof of that. Like, I mean, that's not written anywhere.
I had the same feeling too, because they talk about being marriage material and like her finding a husband and her not wanting to do that. So that's what I gathered from it, and it's not even like brought up that she could be a queer character. It's just that she acts like a boy, like that she's not like feminine. So that was kind of my take on that.
And what's amazing about that is, I mean, you watch Schitt's Creek, right? Mm-hmm. And that was what was so amazing about that show was like, I mean, the fact that they had LGBT characters, and for the first time in TV history, like it wasn't the normal representation that had been seen.
Yeah.
It was just, here are these characters, and here they are.
No one's in the closet.
Nope. And
no one had to say their sexuality. No one had to like come out as any kind of queer.
Nope.
It was just people.
Fact and love.
Yes.
Like, I mean, just.
We need to get to that.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Like have a Schitt's Creek like episode?
Well, have a Schitt's Creek life.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Like, I'm into the wine, not the label, just forever and ever, and no one cares.
Yeah. If you haven't seen that show, you have done
missing
yourself a
out.
disservice. You need to stop listening to us. Come back. We'll be here. Go turn on Netflix right now. It's all there. It is incredible.
And get past the first season. The first season was like, it was good, but like beyond that, it's amazing.
It really is. It's brilliant because I get that comedy. I don't get a lot of like the modern comedy that's
Oh, I die.
yeah,
David.
is amazing. Oh my gosh, and like I watched something on your like Facebook like page or something that it had him in it. What was it? I guess it was like an SNL skit possibly.
Yes.
That was
He did
hilarious.
several. He did men's makeup.
That's
one.
what I was.
Yes. So funny because they were like, man smash. And they were like making makeup try to be all like manly, like when you get swole in the gym and you need to go back to work. And he's like, this is just cosmetics.
Because like there are a couple companies out there trying to do that. Like, and it's like, it's so true. And it's just so fun. Like, oh, I love that. I
Yes,
love
it was
David's
awesome.
humor. So,
I know. He's great.
well,
But yeah, I get called Stevie all the time. And then every once in a while, someone's like, you act just like Alexa. And I'm like, is it Stevie or Alexa? Because you can't be both.
well,
I'm not Alexa. But I'm not quite Stevie either. Maybe the way I dress, but.
yeah. I see that. See, I love all those characters. Like,
Oh, I
I
do
mean,
too.
I would, the mother.
I wish I could do a Moira accent.
Oh,
Like, I
know,
can't.
I can't. No, I can't either. It's so unique and perfect.
It's amazing.
I can't do that. But, anyways, back to the
Yes.
Grishaverse.
Can you tell that we haven't seen each other in 2 weeks?
Yeah, we've got a lot to catch up on, y'all. Oh, did I let you guys know? Like, we have officially, I have a son. I'm an actual father.
Woo!
We have officially adopted Caden, and his name is now Caden Gage Berry, and I couldn't be happier.
Oh,
That happened
you're a
too.
parent.
It was really cool. We like, if you've been listening to the podcast from the beginning, then really, like, actually, you've kind of been along for the whole history of it
Yep.
because this podcast started very close to right when we got him.
Mm-hmm.
So I probably didn't bring it up a lot, and the reason for that is because I wasn't in a good place with it. So now things have changed in such a great way for him and I.
You're
I love our
officially
relationship.
a parent.
I
It
know.
makes me so happy.
And I'm proud of myself.
I'm proud of you.
I never thought that I would actually want to say I'm proud to be a father.
Oh,
And that because I didn't use those words, like, I mean, for a while. So now I can.
oh,
I know.
don't make me
Okay, dog.
emotional.
Well, okay, real quickly. So we played a little, like, fun little commercial last week. So we figured we'd play another fun little one. So if you've listened to all our podcasts, you've heard this. But for those of you new listeners,
Or you just want to hear it again.
yeah, we're trying to get creative, come up with some stuff. So this is a commercial made by us. And, yeah. Are you in the Navy?
In the Navy.
Or, I don't know. I mean, you got to figure out what you're doing.
What are you doing?
I don't know. Let's hear it. Ayor Fjorda. Our country is known for being noble and kind, where all walk free and our children play without fear in the snow. Life here in Fjorda is good. Fjorda was built strong and holy by the sacred gel. While you're cozy in your warm bed, there is an evil lurking amongst us. You've heard them called Wedge, maybe Demjin, or Adruja. All these are one and the same. Grisha, abomination to our Fjordan way of life. There is only one answer. Druskella.
The Druskella's way of life is to defend the pure way of life. Every day, no matter where we serve, we take a stand for our nation, for each other, for us all. We vow to rid the world of the Grisha. Few will cross the ice bridge. Few will battle the Grisha. Few will earn the black and silver. Few will earn the title, Druskella. Come cross the ice bridge with us. The few, the proud, the Druskella.
This commercial paid for by the Druskella Recruitment Bureau. Captain Jarlbroom requires all applications submitted 2 weeks prior to Rinkala. All recruits are required to have life insurance. The Ice Court and the Council of Jarlbroom cannot be held liable for death and execution of your duties.
Ayor? Hello? Is this the ice court? I gotta use your shim cooper. You know, your piss bucket. Where is every Fjorden? Aw.
Oh boy.
Okay, so we had a little too much fun getting creative for like our Grishaversary, and
Oh man.
yeah, that I haven't heard that in a long time.
No, that cracked me up.
That character, when I was doing it, in my head he was just old man Fjorda. And
Oh, fantastic.
yeah, and I wanted to use every Fjorden word that we had, that she had presented in books. Shim Cooper, I don't even know where that is. In the books.
I don't either.
Yeah. So, anyways,
All right.
yeah. So let's go into our next.
You got a lot going on in yours.
Yeah. So the next chapter is chapter 14, which is Zoya's chapter, and it's actually the chapter that ends out this part. So a lot does go on. So I'm gonna read the beginning of it. Zoya had spent little time in Kribirsk since the war. There wasn't much cause, and it held too many bad memories. In the days when Ravka had been split from its western coastline by the Shadowfold, Kribirsk had served as the last place of safety, a town where merchants and bold travelers outfitted their journeys and where soldiers might spend a final night drinking away their terror or paying for comfort in a lover's arms before they boarded a sand skiff and were launched into the unnatural darkness of the fold. Many never returned. Kribirsk had been a port, but now the dark territory known as the Unsea was gone, and Kribirsk was just another small town with little to offer but a sad history. Vestiges of the town's former glory remained. The jail and the barracks, the building that had once housed officers of the First Army and where the triumvirate had first met with Ravka's new king, but the sprawling encampment of tents and horses and soldiers was no more. It was said you could still find unspent bullets in the dust and occasionally scraps of silk from the black pavilion where the Darkling had once held court. End quote. So
all that stuff
is a lot.
was like hanging out like as a little place where like you could probably actually see the fold, like the thing that we saw today in the poster.
Yes.
So they can like see that from like their little.
So
That's scary.
well, but the fold, it's just like now it's just like gray sand.
Yeah.
So
Now it's just like a desert.
and yeah, so yeah, that was my next note was like, it's gray sand. I was just about to repeat that, but anyways, yeah, it's gray desert, and they still do have the sand skiffs to travel across it, but they don't have to worry about the Volcra anymore. We know they're gone.
That's a good thing.
Yeah. So those are terrifying, and we're gonna get when we actually see what that
Oh my
looks like.
gosh.
That's gonna be horrifying. You could kind of see them in that picture that came out. Did you look at that? Where
Yeah.
it kind of had little
But
shapes of things.
can you imagine when they're actually like in motion and whew,
Yeah,
and the
especially
sounds?
yeah.
That's gonna be the big one. The sounds they make. For some reason in my head, like the sounds are like super eerie.
I remember specifically from that first book where she sees the Volcra for the first time because it's I don't know, something goes off where light goes everywhere and she just sees that they're surrounded
Yes.
by Volcra, and that image is actually in my head. I could see it, and I just wonder how that's gonna I don't know.
And in the book it says that the sounds are almost human like,
Right.
which is
right.
terrifying.
And there's a myth, it's somewhere in here where supposedly they used to be
Yes.
humans. So and it's just, I don't know, it's so crazy. Ugh.
I'm too excited.
I know. So wildlife doesn't grow there either. Okay, so it is literally
true
just a
desert.
big sandbox. And the same businesses are still there, just fewer of them. The biggest change is to the church. Here's a quote. The simple whitewashed building with its blue dome had once been dedicated to Sankt Vladimir. Now, a blazing golden sun hung over the entry, a sign that the building had been reconsecrated to Sancta Alina of the Fold. End quote. So, Zoya thinks back on her relationship with Alina and how she used to be really jealous of her. And I mean, when you think about Zoya's character back in the trilogy, when we first met her, we didn't like her that much. She definitely, well, she was jealous of the power that Alina had,
Yes.
and also like the position that put Alina in with the Darkling because
Yeah, because at that point, Zoya wanted to be.
oh yeah, she followed everything the
Yeah.
Darkling did. Like and this is just way back when Zoya was a mean girl and totally wasn't going to let fetch happen. No fetch.
No, you're not going to make that happen.
So here's another quote. Ravka had given too much of its love to men like the Darkling, the Apparat, even the Lantsov kings. They owed a little of it to an orphan girl with no dress sense. End quote. I just thought that was awesome. Like, so true. The outer wall of the church was now actually covered in names, and it's kind of like a memoriam. And if you think back on it's in, is it Shadow and Bone? When I think it is. It's the first book where the Darkling takes everybody out there, and he uses Alina's powers to show, and then like he also like extends the Shadow Fold over into
Yes.
that the sister city, which is called Novokrubirs.
Yes.
And it was just like watching just a massacre happen, and it's just like it's so crazy. So
there's a list of names
on that
of
church,
people who have died.
yes,
Is Jinya's eyeball on that list? Remember when we did the memoriam?
yeah,
Jinya's eyeball.
you know, probably an art, maybe on like a little like tomb by the side, like some of the random.
An asterisk.
Yeah. Well, I don't even know if I have this in my notes, but they do say, like, I mean, they did find, like, I mean, they said they found bullets, but they found, like, pieces of, like,
Yeah.
a kefta. Like, that'd be so crazy.
It would be.
Oh, okay.
Just a wasteland of like people's stuff and yeah, okay.
It's crazy. So, let's see. Okay, so this next note, we have to remember that... Oh, no, I just said that. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I won't ruin it for you. I'm not going to talk about the lives of saints that I really want to talk about right now, but if you've read it, then you know that I'm talking about the last story. Love you. Okay, so moving forward. Zoya thinks about her aunt Liliana, who died in that attack of Novokrubirsк, and the Darkling being responsible for Liliana's death is what convinces, I think it like, I don't know, I feel like it's the last nail in the coffin that really kind of blows Zoya into like reality and understanding how evil the Darkling is. Don't you think?
Yeah, I think so.
So Zoya can't help but think of all of her friends who died at the hands of the Darkling. And then Zoya, Tamar, and Nikolai, they're staying at a boarding house right now that's called the Wreck. And I guess it's like shaped like a old ship. And so they're trying to travel in secret. They had sent the golden coach to Karemzin so people would think that that was them. Okay, so what was interesting about that is, so here's this quote. The party would be welcomed by the couple who ran the orphanage and who they knew could be trusted with the secrets of the crown. End quote. Okay, that's gotta be Alina and Mal, right? Because they, like...
Yes.
That definitely is. So
it has to be because even at the end where Alina and Mal are like together, like hanging out in their normal life, people come to visit them.
yeah, they all go to visit them.
So that has to be who that is.
That has to be. I love these little like...
Yeah.
So,
if you know kind of things.
And one thing that I really want to happen, I don't know if it ever will, but I would really love to like just have like a Alina cameo, just like somewhere, like in the not like I just want to hear from her again. I know
like in the new book.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
Just like what you up to, girl?
Yeah, just like randomly.
How many orphans you hanging out with now?
She's got a lot.
Yeah,
I'm sure. So, anyways, continuing on, Zoya goes over the news of the day with Nikolai, and sends word to Jenya and David about this Caregood attack that they just learned about, and they're concerned that the Caregood are just like, I mean, the Caregood are from the Shu, and they're concerned just like, I mean, these Caregood could go into Ravka and like attack the Grisha school. And Zoya doesn't think that the Shu is that bold, but she's concerned about Azalta and just just these new Caregood soldiers are crazy and just weird. So there's also intelligence about a member of the Shu's royal guard. Okay, I have no clue how to say this, but I'm going to try. Tavgarad, which I think is the name, the actual name for the Shu's royal guard, and that one of the members might be planning a coup. And we have to remember that they're planning this autumnal affair.
Yep.
You know, kind of like the filming of The Bachelor Ravka edition for
Yes.
Nikolai.
Uh-huh.
And it might just be the perfect time for Tolya and Tamar to spy on the Shu guards and try and uncover the coup. Zoya starts to ponder about her and Nikolai's relationship a little bit and recognizes, I don't know, I just think it's interesting. She thinks about herself if she were actually queen and how Ravka wouldn't accept her. And
Yeah.
it's just a really random thought.
It is.
Don't you think? I mean,
But also, let's just put a pin in that.
I know. Put a pin in it. Okay, I'm going to continue. Next quote. Alina had been different, a saint treasured by the people, a symbol of hope for the future. But to Ravka's common folk, Zoya would always be the raven-haired witch who ruled the storms. Dangerous, untrustworthy, they would never give up their precious golden son to a girl born of lightning and thunder and common blood. End quote. Love that. I just love Zoya. Love her.
Yes, we know you do.
I know. I should probably just get a little sign and put it right here so I don't have to say it anymore.
You just wear a T-shirt
Yeah.
that just says Zoya every day.
She's just so amazing. Okay, so they're trying to do this traveling in disguise still, and they want to enter the fold. So it's Tolya, Tamar, and Yuri come to Zoya and Nikolai, and they're kind of trying to plan this out. Zoya complains, why can't they ever go undercover as wealthy people? And Nikolai obviously is just whatever. He doesn't even acknowledge it. Nikolai says that they will take this first trip slowly, and he's concerned about directions because the fold doesn't have any landmarks. Yuri then butts in and says they just need to look for the cult of the Starless Saint because they know the exact location of where the Darkling fell. I think it's funny because Zoya is like, no, you don't. You were there?
Yeah, everybody's doubting.
She ain't falling for that. So we also find there has been sightings of a new pilgrim encampment 10 miles away. And that information comes from Tolya or Tamar. I can't remember which one. And so that kind of puts a pin in Yuri, saying, hey, I told you, there are going to be people out there, my peeps. And see, it's Yuri's character is so freaky to me right now that he's just they're bringing him around. And it scares me that the pilgrims are out there and they don't want them to talk. So they board the sand skiff and enter the fold. It's hard for Zoya because, even though it looks completely different, it's the same strip of land that she saw all of her friends and family brutally killed on and just can't get over that. It's just got a very negative history in Ravka. And it resembles just a lot of negativity and just the Darkling and just, ugh. So she can't help but just get upset. And here's a quote. Yet as they drew closer, Zoya saw the shape on the horizon was not a body of water, but a gleaming black disc of stone, at least a mile across, perfectly round and shiny as a mirror. End quote. Okay, so what is that? So Zoya sees something in the horizon, but when you see something from far away, and you can't really tell what it is, but it's definitely it's a black dot. As they get closer, they see that this is actually where the camp of people are, and they are looking over this huge black circle as if it's a holy space and obviously I guess this is where the Darkling fell. So here's another quote, and this is kind of like a history lesson. I thought this was cool. Centuries before, Yuri continued, the Starless One stood on this very spot and challenged the rules that bound the universe. Only he dared to try to recreate the experiments of the bonesmith, Ilya Morozova. Only he looked to the stars and demanded more. He dared, said Zoya, and the result of his failure was a tear in the world. The shadow fold, said Nikolai. How can you know that the fold was not a challenge the saints set before the Darkling? You said it yourself. He defied the rules that bind the universe, that govern our power. He violated the natural order. But who created the natural order, insisted Yuri. Who is responsible for the making at the heart of the world? End quote. I just think a lot of information there and cool history. So Zoya debates about this and just like, because she's got like her own theories. I mean, she just knows, like, she's been a very powerful Grisha for so long. And she knows that when the Grisha try to extend their powers, there is always a price. They approach the members of this cult, and I guess like this man, one of the members comes up and greets them. And he just kind of says that he thinks this is a sign, that this like black circle is a sign of the return of the Darkling. Interesting.
Huh.
Okay. Haven't heard that yet. That was crazy. Zoya at this point loses it and demands an explanation from these pilgrims because she's just, I mean, they're praising this man that murdered so many and did so much evil. And in her, she's just angry. She starts to use her power and actually like ends up creating an image of the Darkling in the sand.
Yeah. Weird.
Yep. So she's just kind of like using her powers and she's all angry. So she probably doesn't have a lot of control, I don't think. I think she's like lost it a little bit. So Nikolai is trying to calm her down because she's furious and it's sad. So I'm going to read this next quote, and this actually is going to be the end of this chapter, but I had to read it. So here we go. Quote, "Enough, Zoya," said Nikolai in the deep shadow her power had cast. "That is an order." She let the sands drop. A wave of dizziness struck her, and for a moment the world seemed to flicker and warp. Her knees buckled and she fell hard to the deck of the skiff, frightened by the surge of nausea that had overcome her. Nikolai seized her arm. "Are you—" And then he seemed to stumble too, his eyes rolling back in his head. "Nikolai?" Yuri vomited over the railing. "What just happened?" she said, pushing to her feet. "Why?" But the words died on her lips. Zoya turned in a slow circle. The pilgrim camp was gone. The tents, the gleaming stone, the blue sky had bled away to a gray twilight. "Where are Tolya and Tamar?" said Nikolai. Tolya, Tamar, the squalors, everyone who had been standing near the skiff was gone too. "Where are they?" Yuri said. "What happened to them? What did you do?" "I didn't do anything," Zoya protested. "It was a little storm. No one was in any danger." "Am I having some kind of episode?" said Nikolai, staring into the distance. "Or are you seeing this too?" Zoya turned to the west. Above them loomed a palace wrought from the same bone-colored sand as the fold, but it was less a palace than a city, a massive structure that rose in arches and peaks, clouds roiling around in its highest spires. There was something in its construction, in its sweeping scale, that reminded her of the bridge at Yvette's. A shriek sounded from somewhere in the distance. Volcra? Zoya thought, though she knew that couldn't be. "It's a miracle," said Yuri, falling to his knees. Another shriek sounded, then another, and a rumble of the thunder followed as dark shapes seemed to break from the palace, moving toward them at incredible speed. "It's not a miracle," said Nikolai, reaching for his revolvers. "It's a trap." Dun dun dun! End quote, end chapter. Yeah, so.
And this is where things start getting
Yeah.
a little weird.
It's definitely like, it's just like.
It takes a turn.
Yeah, I love it. And it's just, that's crazy. And then they just kind of like place that little thought in your head that there are people that, there are people that want the Darkling to actually come back.
Yeah.
So that's just scary.
Like they're hoping and praying for his return for some reason.
Right.
Yeah.
So crazy. But hey, it's where the book starts getting so interesting, and I love it. I think it's cool that, I mean, the Darkling's being he's entering our story again, because I mean, he is
He was an integral part.
Yeah, he's a cool villain. Not that villains are cool in the way that like he's like what he does, but you know, I love villains.
Oh, well, yeah.
Have you seen the new preview for Cruella, by chance?
With
Yes, I don't know her name, but yes, the Disney movie.
the redheaded. God, what's her name?
Oh, I can't remember. I have
All
no
right.
clue. I have no clue. I know who you're talking about, but I was so excited when I watched that because that's gonna be really cool. But before that, it's actually time for Da-da-da. GrishaCast news. Okay, guys. So, also, those of you watching and listening, if you've watched us be kind of weird about our mics, we've had to be because we can't mute them this evening like we usually do when we're playing some stuff that, yeah. So, if
We've
you're
had
watching,
some equipment changes.
Yeah.
They're a little hotter than usual.
yeah, hot mic.
Hot mic.
Okay, so lots of GrishaCast news because tomorrow is FanFest, which is it's just like this convention, and it's 2 months before the show comes out. It's a interview. We know Lee and the director are there, plus like the cast, and it's gonna be at 8. It's 8 Pacific time, so that's like 10 for
Central.
us. Yeah, and
11 Eastern.
it's gonna be a drop of a lot of information.
Yeah.
They've hinted at it, and it's just like it's got to be the trailer.
It has to be.
Has to be. And we're finally gonna get like more content. I mean, like, I love the fact that she dropped that picture today too, like the day before.
Yes.
She's like, it's
And
brilliant.
a couple of the actors have dropped a couple of other pictures.
Yeah.
What's his name that plays? Kaz dropped another picture of the crows, and another picture was dropped of the Darkling and Alina.
Wow.
It was magical.
Oh my god. It's so exciting.
It is so close. We're gonna start seeing so many more things.
Yeah, guys, we are here. We are at the time that we have been waiting to get to. It is finally here.
It is.
Like we're about to have a show, and we can watch all of it, however many times we want to, and I'm gonna cry. I bet you I'm gonna cry so much.
Probably.
I'm gonna be like, it's gonna be too much like emotion, and I'm gonna be a wreck.
It'll be a lot.
But hey, we've been waiting for this. So, anyways, if it is the trailer and you see it, look out for our next podcast. We'll have a little extra one for you
Very
guys.
special episode.
Yeah. And anyways, also for those of you that know, we have been working on that little present for Lee Bardugo still. Her birthday is April 6th, and you know what we've been doing. I'm not going to repeat it. Yeah. So if you want to be a part of it, my email.
Let us know.
Yeah. We've gotten a lot of stuff, and I've sent out a lot of writing prompts, and that's awesome. A lot of people, I guess, didn't have it, so I've been able to like work with them and send them some. So it's gonna be kind of cool. I think it's gonna be really neat.
You can do that at info@GrishaCast.com or Eric@GrishaCast.com.
Or Terry.
Or
at
Terry at
GrishaCast.com.
GrishaCast.com.
Yeah, just hit
Wasn't
us
going to
up.
promote myself, but
Oh, well, why
I mean,
not? Girl, come on.
you can contact any of us, even like on our socials, whatever. If you want to
Yeah, definitely.
DM us, then slide into those DMs.
Mm-hmm.
That
So
was weird. I shouldn't have said that. I'm too old to say
well, social media is so weird.
it is.
We were talking to Kaden about. Kaden wanted to watch our like wedding video.
Aw.
And like I thought that was really sweet.
That
So
is
we
sweet.
did the other night, and it brought up the topic of like how Chris and I met when like internet was like AOL was the internet. It just got
We just
created.
had chat rooms.
Yeah, and like texting to like today's texting was actually from way back then in instant messages.
Yeah.
We created LOL. That didn't just come up from the texting. Because I remember using that. Like
Yep.
it was,
And BRB and
Yep.
yeah,
it's so crazy.
it is crazy.
I always thought it was funny. So, and what was funny was telling that to a 14-year-old that was like, a world without internet? Without screens? What?
Yeah.
He just doesn't get it. Anyways,
I'm just embracing my old self at this point.
absolutely. Yeah.
When you get to be a certain age, you can just do what you want. I'm going to keep my hair parted however I want to.
Go, girl.
I mean, it's the whole, I don't know if you know that whole thing. The parting in the middle is like what's in right now. No skinny
Oh.
jeans and no side parts.
Oh, good. I never got skinny
And
jeans, so perfect.
No laughing emojis.
So,
Nope, you don't use the laughing emoji anymore. You use a crying emoji or the skull for as in like I'm dead. So
wow.
so all of like our young listeners are probably laughing so hard right now as I'm schooling Eric. But
Well, yeah, and I will totally admit it. Like, I mean, emojis, like, I don't get it. Like, I mean, like, I thought it was kind of like when they got created, but like to find out that like you can actually like write sentences with like 7 emojis and not an actual letter of the alphabet, that is very odd.
so you don't say LOL, you don't say haha, and you don't send a laughing emoji. It has to be a crying emoji or the skeleton or the skull for I'm dead. And that's how you communicate now. So just so you know. In case your 14-year-old
Yeah.
starts texting you a skull face.
Do you have a favorite emoji?
I don't know. I use the winky face like all the freaking time,
Yeah, you
just
do.
because that's just my personality, and we won't go any further than that.
I do the guy with the glasses because I think
Yeah.
I hope people like realize that I'm trying to put a little picture of me. I think it looks like me.
Yeah.
A little smiley face.
Yeah, the winky face, and then
I do the hands, the like, you know, like meditation hands. I use those.
yeah, I actually do the crying, laughing one.
You
Quite
do.
often,
I
yeah.
don't. There's been times where I've sat there like really searching through all of them, and it takes so much time that I just give up because I'm
You
like,
could have literally
this makes no
just-
sense.
You could have literally
Why-
just written it out.
Like, why am I trying to find an
know.
emoji to send when I could just, oh my gosh.
But now that you're a parent,
Yeah,
so now you know you have to keep up with these things.
you do.
You do.
Do you think they're gonna come out with like, I mean, 6 of crows emojis? Because I mean, I've heard that in some of like the Facebook groups. People have wanted that. Like, I mean, I don't know if we're big enough for that though. I hope we are. That would be amazing.
That would be cool.
That like because they did.
They did Outlander ones.
Did they?
Yeah.
I know they did the Game of Thrones when that was like coming out. Like the last season was coming out.
Yeah.
Um.
They did Outlander ones so that when you were like, I'm watching Outlander, you could put the little emojis like on Facebook. I know,
Wow.
again, the young people aren't using Facebook.
Well, sorry.
They're on Snapchat.
Oh, and TikTok. Yeah.
And TikTok and WhatsApp.
Oh,
Yeah.
Lord. Well,
I'm not going to say what we used to use WhatsApp for back in the day, but it wasn't for teenage shenanigans.
I am so glad that we didn't grow up with texting
Oh, boy.
because I would have gotten in so much more. I would have been really, really, really stupid if I had that
yeah,
ways to, like,
I had the pager. So every Friday
I never
night,
got that.
every Friday
Yeah.
night, I would go roller skating
Aw.
with my foster brother, Jeff.
In Brentwood?
In Brentwood.
Ugh.
And we would do our little power skating for hours and hours and hours with our pagers. And like every once in a while, you'd get a beep, beep, beep. And you have to like skate off to the side
Yep.
and check your pager and then go to the payphone to call them back and be like, what's up?
And that was like,
that was.
that was how you communicated then.
Yep.
Like, I mean, like that was the big thing. Yeah. You send like a little text message to a little device that just buzzes.
Yep.
Yeah, your pager. I never got a pager, but I remember my friend Nicole had a pager and a cell phone,
Yep.
and she called it like her ball and chain that her parents made her have.
Aw.
Like so.
And we just lost everyone like under the age of 25. So sorry about that.
Yeah.
Where are your parents now?
Wow.
Eric is lost in
Well-
in the past times.
It's just weird to think about like just how much like I mean I started thinking about the roller skating rink. I loved going to that. Like I loved it when you were like you had field trips in school. And like I loved going there.
It was every Friday night. I would get in Jeff's, my foster brother, not my partner.
Okay.
I didn't know my partner Jeff. In my foster brother Jeff's little Honda that he had every Friday night, and we would go hang out. You would have to sit in line forever to get in on a Friday night.
Wow.
I know it's like
That is so
it's
crazy.
taken me
Like
back.
imagining you do that because like the only time I ever went there was either for a birthday party or my school took
No,
me.
every Friday night, every single one, never missed it.
I can't imagine that you doing that.
Yeah.
Wow. That's awesome.
I did the whole like power skating, like the whole like dancing, like and doing the super fast.
The games that they have.
Oh, yeah, I mean sometimes the games, but typically it was like they would have moments where like only if you were like a pro you could be out there.
Oh yeah.
And so Jeff and I would be out there like doing this stupid like figure skating like crap with it, and everybody's looking at us funny. We're like, we're brother and sister.
Girl, that was me. I had my own roller skates where I like did my own things at like in my neighborhood, and I'm not kidding. Like my friend Amber and I would always go over to her like house. We'd go in her garage. We'd put on the radio, and we'd pretend that we were in the Winter Olympics. And my name was Eric Kerrigan, and I can't remember what her name was, but yeah, I was Eric Kerrigan, and I just thought it was amazing. I could like roller skate backwards, and that was just so cool. And then I'd pretend to do these like axles when I was just like jumping and like going a half circle and landing.
Aw.
I know.
Aw. No, we just thought we were super cool.
You were.
Really is what
I mean-
that's all it was, that we thought we were super cool. Everyone thought that we were like weird, and I'm out there skating with my gay brother, but
Yeah.
it was fun.
Well, and we're going to end this soon, I promise, guys. But
We went on a little journey.
I had
here.
a really good conversation recently with like Caden because he's about to be in high school for the first time, and I keep telling him that like it's a really cool time because this is your opportunity to like find your tribe, your people. You're like you just learn a lot. I think it's really like I don't know.
Not during this time, during COVID times.
Well, right. No, not during COVID times, but in normal times. That's right. I forget that.
Hey, there's my high schooler. Hey, what's
Ooh.
up? What's up, Rylan?
Okay, so next week we are going to cover chapters 15 and 16. Is that right?
Yes.
Yes.
And
so
you're gonna go first next time.
I am. I will go first. So, okay. Thank you so much. We love you all.
Thanks for hanging in there while we went on a whole little journey to the past.
Yeah.
Insert the Anastasia song here.
Love you guys. Bye.
Bye.
Like we're at the end of the hour, so my voice is a little husky. A+.
No mourners.
No funerals.
This has been GrishaCast. Connect to us on the web at GrishaCast.com. Send an email to info@GrishaCast.com.
Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube at GrishaCast.
A special thank you for our background music created by Kendra Dantes and produced by Year 26.
Woo!